New South Wales has recorded 3 new locally acquired coronavirus cases in the past 24 hours. Comes as the Northern Beaches emerges from its strict lockdown. We've got our reporter Ashley Raper live for us in Sydney. Ash, what can you tell us about these new cases?
Nadia, yes, there have been 3 new cases recorded in New South Wales, so it continues to be good news here in terms of trying to get on top of the outbreaks. Now, 2 of those cases are linked to the Barella cluster, which is in Western Sydney, and that originated in a bottled shop, and there's been grave concerns about that now. So there's now 23 cases associated with that cluster. Now, the other case is also, the source can be traced, and that's linked to the Avalon cluster. It's actually in a person that's in the southern zone of the Northern Beaches, and now that Avalon cluster has now reached 150 cases. It is a significant day for people on the Northern Beaches today, especially in that northern zone, because they come out of lockdown today, and so while there are still cases attached to that Avalon cluster, the restrictions for those people living in the northern end of the Northern Beaches have been eased today, Nadia.
And the New South Wales Premier is still urging people to be cautious despite the Northern Beaches coming out of lockdown. What else has she had to say this morning?
Yeah, there's been an interesting change in language from the Premier Gladys Berejiklian and also our Chief Medical Officer Dr Kerry Chant today. While they still are concerned about what is happening in Greater Sydney, there's been a shift in language that we've almost entered the mopping up phase, that they seem to indicate that we've got more of a handle on the outbreaks, and especially those big clusters, one around the Northern Beaches and the other one in Barella, and say that while we still have to be vigilant, especially for the next 14 days, that we're now entering a critical phase, but it's more a mopping up and making sure that there's no more virus the spread. But in terms of getting a handle on those big outbreaks, the Premier gave the sense that they feel more confident now.
The main threat has to some extent subsided. We are still mopping up, and that's why all of us have to be on high alert. The risk in Greater Sydney is the same today as it was last week, because it only takes 1 or 2 cases to get out of control, or an undetected line of transmission to get out of control, for all of us to be in a situation where we have to consider making things tighter.
Now, one way the Premier says to ensure that we do get on top of this and that we can move forward in a positive way is keeping testing rates up. There were 24,000 tests done in the past 24 hours. They want those numbers to stay at that and increase. And also there are still tight restrictions in Greater Sydney around limits to homes, and so they will stay in place, it seems, for a number more weeks to come, Nadia.
Thank you, Ashley. That was our reporter, Ashley Raper in Sydney.